Come quelle pancarte?
Sta qui.
Qual è?
Questa.
Questa qua?
Sì, occhio che sono in onda,
Adesso
anche lei non li vede tutti che
E dopo gli...
Onori la sua santità Leone XIV.
Qualche caffè?
Io no. riconoscimento allo Stato di San Marino sicuramente ha fatto sì che quando l'Italia poi si è unita abbia, come dire, avuto un riguardo verso il nostro paese e in quel momento era facile occuparlo, insomma, come noi non abbiamo mai avuto eserciti che ci potessero proteggere, però la diplomazia è questa.
E quindi questo è un atto di testimonianza delle relazioni che ancora ad oggi sussistono e sono floride tra San Marino e gli Stati Uniti, e sono sapendo della sua cittadinanza
La cosa che
americana.
veramente l'invito era stata indirizzata ovviamente al Presidente degli Stati Uniti Abraham Lincoln, ma indirizzata a New York, probabilmente avevano magari in mente invece a Washington, Basilica, però poi riuscì ad arrivare in qualche modo, forse c'è stata una provvidenza che ci ha permesso di avere questa risposta, è stato un riconoscimento da parte dello Stato repubblicano, quello americano, a un'altra piccola repubblica.
E quindi è un bel atto di
E in
testimonianza.
queste parole per noi ancora i nostri vescovi.
Santità, oggi la Repubblica di San Marino si raccoglie con profonda commozione attorno alla sua presenza per porgerle un accorato benvenuto in questa terra di pace e di antica libertà, che da secoli custodisce il valore della persona, la forza della solidarietà, il rispetto dell'altro e la vocazione al dialogo.
Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ, and welcome to this live broadcast of Pope Leo XIV's greetings and meeting with the civil authorities and civil society of the Republic of San Marino. My name is Devin Watkins, and I'll be providing the commentary and translation for this papal event. As we go live, the Holy Father has just arrived here in the public palace to greet the civil authorities gathered in this tiny microstate on the coast of Italy. We welcome all of you who are joining us through our various broadcasting partners and through our Vatican News channels, Facebook live feed. And we especially welcome all of you who are joining us through EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Salt and Light TV, Atmadarshan TV, and Shekinah News in India. We hear the captain's regent. There are two of them who are elected every 6 months. They're the heads of state of San Marino. The Holy Father is being welcomed by one of them as he has just arrived here in San Marino this morning for his half-day visit.
Oggi trova compimento una speranza che ha preso forma già lo scorso mese di gennaio, quando i nostri predecessori, nel corso dell'udienza privata che ella volle loro concedere, ebbero l'alto onore di rivolgerle l'invito a visitare la più antica repubblica del mondo. Un invito che pochi mesi più tardi
This San Marino is the world's oldest republic, and the captains regent who are elected date back, this tradition and political setup dates back to the mid-1200s, around 1243. The republic was founded by Saint Marinus, and we hear the Captain Regent offering heartfelt welcome to Pope Leo, who was preceded in this visit to San Marino by,
e l'essere parte delle più piccole entità territoriali sovrane, relazioni bilaterali ottime ed esclusive, progressivamente rafforzate in questo secolo attraverso la continuità del dialogo, alimentato da scambi di visite, da una feconda attività diplomatica e dall'adozione di significative intese, che hanno disciplinato ambiti di particolare rilevanza per la vita della nostra comunità.
There have been many diplomatic relations between the Holy See and the Republic of San Marino. There have been around 50 years of diplomatic relations, even though formal diplomatic relations, even though relations with the Papal States and then the Holy See have existed for many hundreds of years. Pope St. John Paul II visited San Marino on August 29th, 1982, celebrated Mass there. And then Pope Benedict XVI visited in June of 2011.
E che ci permette di aprire insieme una nuova pagina della stessa lunga storia, guardando al futuro con la fiducia di chi sa che anche nelle sfide più difficili l'amicizia, la fede e il dialogo possono continuare a indicare la strada. Viviamo un tempo che pone alla coscienza della comunità internazionale domande profonde e ineludibili, un tempo nel quale, mentre il mondo anela alla pace, troppe terre continuano a conoscere il dolore della guerra, troppe persone sono costrette a lasciare le proprie case e troppe vite sono segnate dalla fame, dalla paura e dall'ingiustizia. I conflitti che ancora insanguinano diverse regioni del mondo, le crisi umanitarie, le tensioni che attraversano gli equilibri internazionali, le migrazioni forzate e le disuguaglianze che continuano a separare gli uomini ci ricordano con forza che nessun progresso può dirsi compiuto se non è capace di custodire la dignità di ogni persona. Ogni Stato deve allora sentirsi chiamato a soccorrere i più deboli, a fare la sua parte e a mostrare quella nobiltà d'animo che esalta le istituzioni e valorizza la dirittura morale dei suoi cittadini. Fin dall'inizio del doloroso e perdurante conflitto russo-ucraino, San Marino ha teso la mano verso centinaia di profughi costretti ad abbandonare l'Ucraina, offrendo loro sostegno morale, ospitalità e servizi, ed è impegnata oggi a favorire l'arrivo in Repubblica di nuclei familiari palestinesi in cerca di rifugio, assistenza e godimento dei diritti fondamentali. La nostra lunga tradizione di accoglienza, che trova la sua massima espressione a metà del secolo scorso, attraverso l'ospitalità offerta a oltre 100.000 rifugiati.
The Captain Regent is recalling the many expressions of humanitarian interest and welcome that San Marino has offered. And she says, our long tradition of welcome found its fullest expression in the middle of the last century when San Marino offered refuge to more than 100,000 people fleeing the violence of the Second World War. This experience taught us that humanitarian assistance is not merely a necessary moral obligation, but a matter of life and death. Every hour without food, water, medicine, and shelter causes profound suffering and is tantamount to a death sentence. It is a humiliation that is difficult to endure and is morally unacceptable and unjustifiable. For this reason, we applaud and firmly support the efforts of San Marino's institutions to draw close to those in need, to leave no one behind, and to offer fraternal assistance.
Quella di fare del progresso uno strumento al servizio dell'uomo e non un motivo di divisione. Di fronte a queste sfide, governi e istituzioni sono
Faced with these challenges, governments and institutions are called to rediscover the courage to assume responsibility and the strength to make shared decisions. Too often we see force prevail over law, confrontation over dialogue, and private interests over the common good. Yet it is precisely at the most difficult moments that history asks us to choose what kind of world we wish to leave to the generations that follow. In your first encyclical, Magnifica Humanitas, Your Holiness, you call on humanity not to lose sight of the primacy of the human person in this age of profound digital transformation. The risk is not only that certain technologies may be misused, one passage of your letter states, but that the technocratic paradigm in which we are immersed may make an anti-human vision appear right and normal, one in which the fullness of life is thought to consist in possessing more, reducing vulnerability, eliminating the unexpected and controlling everything. You remind us that authentic progress cannot be measured solely by our capacity for innovation or by accelerating the pace of scientific development, but by our ability to safeguard what makes the human person truly human: inviolable dignity, freedom of conscience, responsibility, solidarity, and the pursuit of the common good. Your Holiness, this is a message that closely reflects our institutional experience. San Marino is a small republic, but it carries on its shoulders the weight and richness of more than 17 centuries of history. A history born of one man's simplicity and developed around an idea of freedom that the passage of time has not erased.
Verso le generazioni che ci hanno preceduto e soprattutto verso quelle che verranno. E forse è proprio questa lezione preziosa che il nostro patrimonio identitario ci consegna, che la libertà acquista il suo significato più alto quando si...
Perhaps this is the most precious lesson conveyed by our heritage and identity. Freedom attains its highest meaning when it becomes respect, welcome, and care for others, when it does not erect walls but builds bridges, when it does not divide but recognizes in others a part of the same, one and magnificent humanity. Moreover, a truly modern society must retain the ability to educate people in civic responsibility, value the family, support young people, protect persons with disabilities and the elderly, and place the dignity of the individual at the center of every public decision. We are also aware that the authority and reliability of a state do not depend upon the extent of its territory, but upon its fidelity to the principles that guide its actions.
Un dialogo costante sui principali dossier dell'agenda multilaterale, riscontrando significative convergenze sui temi.
It is within this shared horizon that San Marino and the Holy See maintain an ongoing dialogue on the principal issues on the multilateral agenda, finding significant areas of agreement concerning peace and international security, the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, the promotion of the rule of law, and the strengthening of multilateralism. Within international forums, particularly the United Nations, this harmony is expressed through our shared support for the peaceful resolution of disputes, respect for international law, and the principles enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations on the protection of civilian populations during conflicts. Our shared commitment to the universal abolition of the death penalty also forms part of this common endeavor. This issue is particularly significant for the Republic of San Marino, where abolition is a long-standing choice deeply rooted in our legal tradition, and one that we continue to promote firmly at the international level. Your Holiness, this solemn audience is a gift that every person present in this chamber will preserve in his or her own memory. Shortly, when you appear before our Piazza della Libertà, our Freedom Square, something will take place that goes beyond this single day. From the ancient stone of this palace, your gaze will meet that of the people of San Marino, and through this small land poised upon Mount Titano, will reach the world. for a moment, the square will become a single voice, a single embrace, a place where past and future, faith and freedom, San Marino and all humanity may feel united. And your words, Your Holiness, entrusted to the wind and to memory, will continue to travel far beyond these walls, carrying with them a message of peace, hope, and fraternity. Our geographical dimensions are small, but the horizon of the values in which we believe is universal. Will continue to affirm that freedom finds its highest meaning when accompanied by responsibility, that peace is born of dialogue and inspires our democracy. Your Holiness, please accept our heartfelt good wishes for the continuation of your pontificate. May your luminous path foster confidence in the future among peoples and rekindle hope, especially whenever it appears to have been extinguished. The Republic of San Marino will always stand beside the Holy See in every effort to advance peace processes, encourage dialogue between the parties, and create the conditions for justice and lasting coexistence. In this spirit, on behalf of the people and institutions of San Marino, and personally as we renew our sincere and profound gratitude for your most welcome visit among us, we wish to express to you our highest respect and consideration. Welcome, Your Holiness, to the Republic of San Marino, which welcomes you and wishes you every blessing. And those were the words of the two captains regent, the heads of state of the Republic of San Marino. And now the Holy Father will address the civil authorities of San Marino.
Signori Capitani Regenti, illustri autorità.
Your Excellencies, Captains Regent, distinguished authorities, I am very pleased to visit your country, which holds the distinction of being the world's oldest republic, with a tradition dating back to the beginning of the 4th century. I offer heartfelt thanks to the Captains Regent for their gracious invitation and for the welcome extended to me, also expressed in the words they addressed to me on behalf of all citizens. My visit follows those of St. John Paul II in 1982 and Benedict XVI in 2011, and is intended to reaffirm the profound bond uniting Mount Titano and the Apostolic See. This relationship is ancient because of our long historical coexistence, yet at the same time recent if we consider that diplomatic relations between the Holy See and the most serene Republic of San Marino were formally established only a century ago, in April 1926. Throughout its long history, your republic has kept ever relevant the words that we might describe as the spiritual testament of its founder, and which were recalled a short while ago. Relinquo vos liberos ab utroque homine. I leave you free from both men, whose meaning is clearly summed up in the motto Libertas. A single word, yet how rich in meaning. In the history of a people and a state, it certainly expresses the aspiration to self-determination and independence from other political authorities. At the same time, however, libertas means much more, and I would like to reflect briefly on this with you. First, I wish to emphasize that there can be no true civil freedom without personal freedom, that is, without respect for and the promotion of the dignity of the human person, of which freedom is an essential component. Ultimately, This freedom is given and guaranteed by God, whose voice resounds in the conscience of every human being. Promoting freedom entails defending the realm of conscience. Here our thoughts turn to the many men and women who in every age and place have been martyrs of freedom, precisely because they bore witness to the primacy of conscience. Firmly formed by their search for truth, they are fully responsible for their decisions and therefore free from every constraint, except that proper to creatures, which binds them to God. St. Thomas More, patron saint of statesmen and politicians, is exemplary in this regard. Even today, in many parts of the world, there are people who remain faithful to their conscience amid great adversity, bearing witness to true freedom, the freedom that comes from being sons and daughters of God. With admiration, we express our solidarity with all those who are currently paying a personal price for refusing to betray their conscience. Moreover, freedom is fulfilled through self-giving, communion, encounter, and dialogue. It is like a plant that grows and produces branches and leaves, offering everyone oxygen, shade, fragrance, fruit, and new seeds. How could it be otherwise, since it flows from the source that is love, one and triune? This theological reference may perhaps seem excessive, but I believe it is necessary today in the face of the idolatry that corrupts at their roots those political and economic projects presented in the name of freedom, but which in reality are enslaved to idols and to power. In the Christian vision, freedom and communion stand or fall together. Many saints have initiated experiences of community life in which people express their freedom by obeying a rule founded on the gospel. In your case, it is always particularly significant that your community was founded by men such as Saint Marinus and Saint Leo, whom we might describe as builders of free and peaceful cities. Their work can be interpreted in the light of the biblical image of the rebuilding of Jerusalem undertaken at the prompting of the prophet Nehemiah. It is the positive image set in contrast to that of the Tower of Babel, which guides the reflection of the encyclical Magnifica Humanitas. Nehemiah's work is animated by prayer, involves families and the entire people, and builds bonds even before it builds walls. Its style is communion, not uniformity. The harmony that arises when each person assumes his or her own part and the entire people recognizes that its strength comes from the Lord. This is how I like to think of the work undertaken by your founders, which is well reflected in the industriousness and ingenuity of this people and this land. For you, libertas also means an unwavering commitment to active and constructive participation in building peace. In this regard, I express my deep appreciation and find a particular harmony with the approach of the Holy See. We therefore share an esteem for diplomacy and multilateralism as a privileged means of cultivating international relations and promoting understanding among nations. In the face of the impulsive communications, aggressive rhetoric, and power-driven logic that mark our time, the vocation of diplomacy is to foster dialogue with everyone, including those interlocutors considered more difficult, or who might not be regarded as entitled to negotiate, employing humility and patience to their fullest extent in order to weave together even the faintest signs of goodwill among the parties to a conflict, and thus set a process of peacemaking in motion.
Questa visita, analogamente a quanto accaduto nel Principato di Monaco.
Ladies and gentlemen, as was also the case during my visit to the Principality of Monaco, this visit invites me to emphasize the distinctive value of a small state, one that is on a human scale, where it is possible to experience the proximity of politics to the needs of citizens, and therefore a more effective democracy, all the more so when it is also animated by Christian inspiration.
La Repubblica di San Marino può essere un laboratorio di buona politica, dove senza derogare alla laicità dello Stato si può attingere ai principi della dottrina sociale cattolica. La ricerca
The Republic of San Marino can therefore serve as a laboratory of good politics, where, without compromising the secular character of the state, inspiration can be drawn from the principles of Catholic social teaching. The pursuit of the common good, the universal destination of goods, the harmony between subsidiarity and solidarity, and social justice. This commitment appears all the more valuable today as the association agreement with the European Union is about to become operational, and your republic prepares to enter into a stable, though distinctive, relationship with a complex institution that can greatly benefit from your contribution.
cui tendere in questo laboratorio è la cura dell'umano. Una comunità come la vostra, infatti, al tempo stesso
At a deeper level, the principal objective is to be pursued in this laboratory is the care of the human person. A community such as yours, both rich in traditional values and abreast of technological developments, can effectively pursue this objective through a care expressed in the protection of every human life, at every stage from conception to natural death. The quality of a civilization is measured not by the power of its means, but by the care it is able to provide, and by its capacity to recognize the other as a face and not as a function. Our ability to care for one another is an important dimension of our humanity. Technology can also support mutual care among people. For example, by offering tools that help us to anticipate and organize, but without supplanting the freedom and judgment of the human person, who is the subject of relationships and responsible for decisions.
Questa cura dell'altro è apparsa una nota distintiva.
This care for others has been a distinctive feature of San Marino's history from its very beginnings. As has been noted, it is evident in the tradition of welcome that throughout the centuries has never failed those who suffer or face hardship. More recently, it has been demonstrated that through the support and hospitality offered to the Ukrainian people, especially at the beginning of the conflict, as well as through the commitment to international humanitarian law at a time in history when it is disregarded and even trampled underfoot on a daily basis. This sensitivity is also a fruit of this country's Christian tradition and of the constant and constructive cooperation between the political authorities and the bishop in pursuing the common good. I am therefore particularly grateful to you for your commitment and witness, and I encourage all of you, government leaders, citizens, and ecclesial community, to continue your courageous and far-sighted efforts on behalf of the dignity of every human person and the common good. To each of you I renew the expression of my joy at this visit to the Republic of San Marino, and I invoke the Lord's blessing upon you all. And that was Pope Leo XIV's address to the civil authorities of the Republic of San Marino, the world's oldest republic. And the Holy Father will now be given a pair of gifts from the Captain's Regent. The first is a ceramic plate, about 40 centimeters in diameter, produced by the Involo Cooperative, that and was produced with the help of people with disabilities. The ceramic plate shows the places that the Holy Father will visit: the public palace, the Basilica of St. Marinus, and with the 3 towers in the background that is typical of the San Marino skyline, and as well as a half bust of the Holy Father. The Holy Father will also receive a chalice in silver that was created by an ancient, very old jewelry shop in San Marino, Arzilli, and shows various significant moments of the life of San Marino and relationship with the Holy See. And the Holy Father also is receiving several stamps dedicated to his pastoral visit. And these commemorative coins recall the holy founders of the Republic and St. Peter. And now the Holy Father is offering the Captain's Regent a mosaic of St. Peter's Square it appears that represents the St. Peter's Basilica and St. Peter's Square from about a century ago. The Holy Father will now go out to the balcony and greet the people gathered in the square in order to offer them his blessing. We see, if you're following on television, the Mount Titano, which is where the Republic of San Marino is located. It's built upon this mountain. Good morning.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for your welcome for this beautiful day. I'm very happy to be here with you and to greet you and to enjoy the beauty and the history and tradition and faith of this great people of San Marino. Many blessings, many best wishes to you all. May you always live with authentic liberty, the liberty in Jesus Christ and the truth. And may you always be united in this welcoming attitude. Best wishes to you all. And the Holy Father blesses the crowd gathered there in the square in front of the public palace. The Holy Father will now make his way to the Basilica, which is right beside, to greet the ecclesial community of San Marino. And we will return in just a few minutes. We will close this broadcast, at least the commentary part of it. The images will continue, and you're welcome to follow them there. We will return in just a few moments for the Holy Father's encounter with the ecclesial community of San Marino. My name is Devin Watkins. It's been a pleasure to provide the commentary and translation for Pope Leo XIV's encounter with the civil authorities of San Marino. On behalf of Vatican Media, I'd like to thank our in-studio audio technician and coordinator, and all of our partners on television and radio. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.
Sopravviviamo, va bene.
a destra, tutto a destra.
Allora, qui c'è una consegna.
San Marino, per me è un onore mangiarla della divisa ufficiale. Ragazzi che sono a Taranto, sì, abbiamo messo dietro, sono delle firme dei ragazzi. Giriamo poi. Giriamoci di parte, anche di qua. Giriamo parte. Ok, andiamo. Via. Sul stesso giorno, evviva il Papa! Si chiama Marinus, Shiloh.
We're from Michigan, Detroit. We are from Detroit. And the White Sox win the pennant.
Laudetur Jesus Christus. Praised be Jesus Christ. Welcome to this live broadcast of Pope Leo XIV's encounter with the ecclesial community of the Republic of San Marino. My name is Devin Watkins, and I'll be providing the commentary and translation for this papal event. We welcome all of you who are joining us through our various Vatican media, Vatican News channels, and all of our broadcasting partners, including EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Salt and Light TV, Atmadarshan TV, and Shekinah News in India. As we go live, the Holy Father has just come from the public palace and his meeting with the civil authorities of San Marino, a tiny microstate on the coast, the northeastern coast of Italy. The Holy Father has just come in walked over here to the Basilica of St. Marinus to large applause, and he entered the Basilica on this mountain, Mount Titano, maybe. The Holy Father is being greeted, and we hear the welcome that is being afforded to him. The Holy Father, the music that is welcoming the Holy Father is the San Marino choir singing the Ave Verum Corpus, KV 618 of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Father kneels and pauses before the relics of Saint Marinus, one of the founders of the Republic of San Marino, and for whom it is named. And the Holy Father puts incense in the thurible to incense the image of the saint. The Holy Father is pausing to pray before the image of Saint Marinus, here in the Basilica dedicated to the saint. And the Holy Father now makes his way to the chair set up here in front of the Basilica. He will be greeted by Bishop Domenico Beneventi.
Beatissimo Padre, con immensa gioia e filiale affetto.
Most Holy Father, with immense joy and filial affection, the Church, here is the Church of San Marino Montefeltro.
L'applauso dice tutto l'affetto e l'attesa e la vogliamo accogliere in questa basilica.
The applause expresses all of our affection and expresses everything, and we wish to welcome you to this basilica, which houses the relics of Saint Marinus, founder of the Republic, and, together with Saint Leo, patron of our diocese. Your presence is a gift of grace that gives us courage and confirms us in faith, blessing a unique land that embraces, within a single local church, two sovereign states, two republics, San Marino and Republic of Italy, in the inland areas of the Italian peninsula. We experience this condition as a prophetic vocation to fraternity, peace, and coexistence in solidarity among different communities. Here, where the beauty of our towns and countryside is united with the gratuitousness of human relationships, we learn each day the value of closeness and cooperation for the common good. Faced with depopulation, and especially in Italy, the reduction of services in Italy's inland areas and the complex challenges concerning the form of the Church should take today, our daily commitment is to keep alive the sense of community of a people gathered by faith. In this way, we preserve the value of that magnificent humanity, nourished by solidarity, closeness, and belonging. Distinctive and precious features of our small communities, which we have no intention of abandoning. Instead, we wish to inhabit them with a hopeful look, recovering and proposing anew the Christian meaning of welcome, closeness, and mutual care. Our history is rooted in the principle of freedom, which for us has never meant mere license, but finds its fulfillment in faith and a sense of community. Freedom is the gift that defines us as men and women responsible before God and history. As you taught us in your encyclical Magnifica Humanitas, this means rejecting every functionalist logic that reduces the human person to performance, and safeguarding the inviolable dignity of every human life, from conception to its natural end. In frank and respectful dialogue with all institutions, we offer our cooperation as a prophetic voice of the gospel, supporting the family, promoting the integral education of younger generations, and serving the common good. We reject the throwaway culture, the scourge of abortion, and the increasingly widespread practice of surrogacy, while reaffirming that human dignity, freedom of conscience, and the protection of the most vulnerable are the true pillars of civil coexistence. Faced with a rapidly changing cultural paradigm that is increasingly producing a technicist and functionalist vision, we cannot remain silent in the face of universal crimes against life and the dignity of every human being. For this reason, together we reiterate and make our own your constant and impassioned appeal for peace and for an end to every war. Allow me, Holy Father, also to convey the deep affection and greetings of our young people, hundreds of whom are waiting eagerly for you outside the Basilica, ready to embrace you and listen to your words. In our time, marked by relationships that have become rarefied and reduced to images, our young people ardently desire to rediscover and recover the profound meaning of the mystery of the Incarnation. They do not wish to remain passive spectators, but to be a living and active Christian presence, capable of overcoming the prevailing sense of mistrust and indifference caused by an increasingly individualistic and relativistic culture. They wish to place once more at the center the sincere pursuit of joy in life, an authentic sense of community, and an unwavering respect for the dignity of the human person. Together with them, we rediscover the legacy of our holy founders, Marinus and Leo, the historic libertas, understood as self-giving and the building of a
per
true
essere
house
venuta
of
ad
peace.
abbracciare la nostra piccola e straordinaria comunità diocesana.
Thank you, Holy
Una realtà
Father,
discreta,
for coming to
ad
embrace
abbraccio
our
di
small
fede
and
e
extraordinary
di
diocesan
essenzialità.
community, a
Nel
discreet
piccolo
presence, yet one
risiede
vibrant
e
with faith and
custodito l'umano,
simplicity.
che ci salverà da ogni deriva
Within what is small,
disumana.
our humanity
Ti chiediamo di
resides and is
confermarci nella
safeguarded,
fede
the
e di
humanity that
benedire
will
i nostri
save us from
passi,
every inhuman
affinché
path.
questa terra, questo
We
popolo,
ask you to confirm us in faith and to bless our steps, so that this land may continue to be a cradle of disciples and a dwelling place of hope. Thank you, Holy Father.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buongiorno.
Dear brothers and sisters, good morning.
Sono felice di incontrarvi in questa basilica, anche con voi che
I'm happy to join you here in this basilica, and all of you who are outside as well, in this basilica dedicated to the holy, the saintly deacon, your patron.
Saluto Sua Eccellenza, il vostro
I greet the bishop, whom I thank
Ringrazio per le parole che mi ha rivolto.
for the words he addressed to me, the priests, consecrated men and women,
I rappresentanti della vita
representatives of the diocese's ecclesial life, and all those present.
Vorrei che
I would like
vivessimo
us to experience this moment together as a pause along our shared journey in the footsteps of Christ.
La diocesi di San Marino Montefeltro,
The Diocese of San Marino Montefeltro is heir to a rich history of faith and courage, that of Saints Marinus and Leo, who 18 centuries ago, through their proclamation of the Christian message, introduced into this context new perspectives and values, bringing about the birth of a culture and a civilization centered on the human person, the image of God.
laici e scalpellini,
Laymen and stonemasons, only later called, in different degrees, to ordained ministry, they succeeded in translating the gospel message into a new model of community and political life, one strongly characterized by the Christian principles of freedom, mutual respect, and communion, and one that remains alive today. It is wonderful to see how both your diocesan community and the civil community can seek to continue the work of the founders with the same enthusiasm and fidelity. For this reason, I would like to pause and reflect with you on several aspects of your journey as a church that I consider important.
Mi rivolgo prima di tutto ai giovani, ripartendo da ciò che a loro disse Papa Benedetto XVI.
I turn first of all to the young people, beginning with what Pope Benedict XVI said to them when he visited here 15 years ago. Do not stop at partial and immediate answers, which are certainly easier and more convenient at the moment, which can give you a few moments of happiness, of excitement, of inebriation, but do not lead you to the true joy of living. He added, your heart is a window open to infinity. Dear young people, keep that window open. With the eyes of your soul, follow the paths traced within you by the great desires for beauty, goodness, and life that you carry in your hearts. If you carefully observe where these paths lead and listen to their voice, they will take you upwards to an encounter with God, where He seeks you and He awaits you. With His help, your dreams will have the power to leave their mark on history and make it better. Here, then, is the second invitation I offer you. Embrace your mission in the world with enthusiasm. Do so first by seeking to understand the calling intended for you, unique to each person, and by appreciating its greatness. Then, devote yourselves to it, investing without reserve all the wealths of gifts that God has granted you. Do not be afraid to make demanding choices, such as marriage, consecrated life, ordained ministry, a professional vocation, or social and political involvement. Prepare yourselves as well as possible for the responsibilities that await you. Become involved in charitable initiatives and projects promoting justice. In this way, you too will help to offer a witness of peace that speaks to the world, as the motto of my visit says. In this regard, I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the priests, catechists, and all educators who, through various programs and initiatives, work for the human and Christian development of young people. Dear friends, your work is often hidden, but it is very important. It is a humble and precious service because it assists parents who bear primary responsibility for educating their children in the faith. The family is the first place where faith is formed, the natural setting in which the gospel is learned from childhood and breathed in each day. Wise pastoral care will therefore seek to foster strong educational cooperation between families and ecclesial communities, an educational covenant, so that parents feel involved, rediscover the faith themselves in a new way, and experience the joy of passing on to their children the Christian values entrusted to them. As for their content, programs of formation, especially those concerning Christian initiation, should above all communicate the beauty and joy of baptismal and sacramental life. In this way, paths of holiness may be born and strengthened within communities, and everyone may grow in awareness of his or her prophetic, priestly, and kingly dignity. Following the teaching of the Second Vatican Council, careful attention should be given to the liturgy, and the faithful should be formed to experience it together as the common action of one living body, in which every member draws strength from the Lord's table in order to bring His light to the streets of the world. We believe that the gospel is a path of freedom for the men and women of every age, and that in Jesus Christ and His Word, the joys, wounds, and deepest questions of humanity find meaning and their definitive answer. We are therefore convinced that the greatest gift we can offer the brothers and sisters whom the Lord places along our path is to help them encounter Him, God made man, who died and rose again for us, and in whom they may find salvation. In this light, let us practice charity in all its forms and without reserve, while always keeping firmly in mind the ultimate and integral good of the people to whom we offer support. We live in a world wounded by many conflicts, in which we see with concern, the growth of violence, isolation, and fear of others. Faced with these troubling tendencies, our only response can be to walk with even greater conviction along the path of the gospel. Its inspiration forms the foundation of a society built on respect for one's own freedom and that of others, and above all on respect for the sacred will of God, which teaches and commands concern for the most vulnerable, forgiveness, communion, and solidarity. In this regard, I wish to emphasize the importance and prophetic value of certain experiences of mutual support and closeness, through which small communities in the most remote parts of this territory confront the problems associated with depopulation and the lack of services, while keeping alive a sense of family and communion. These communities, apparently small and marginal, are like little flames from which we can draw fire to rekindle and revive in everyone the warmth of sound values, ancient yet always relevant. Such experiences bear witness to the warmth of that Magnifica Humanitas towards which we must strive in order to overcome the individualism of a certain metropolitan and consumerist culture, as well as other forms of distrustful and divisive parochialism, and to breathe new life into our hopes for fraternity and peace. Dear brothers and sisters, my final word is one dearest to my heart: communion. In our communities, let us bear witness to unity among parishes and within them, between pastors and the faithful, and among the various charisms and ministries. This too is part of the heritage of the gospel lived out that Saints Marinus and Leo left us, and the mission entrusted to us, to continue with perseverance and dedication to nurture what they began. Through their intercession, may the Lord bless you and sustain you always on your journey. I thank you from my heart for your welcome. I carry you with me in my prayers, and I am certain that you too will continue to pray for the Pope. Thank you.
Allora preghiamo insieme come il Signore Gesù.
And now let us pray together as the Lord Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Il Signore sia con voi. Sia benedetto il nome del Signore. Il nostro aiuto nel nome del Signore. Vi benedica Dio Onnipotente, Padre, Figlio e Spirito Santo. Amen.
And the Holy Father has just offered his apostolic blessing, along with his words of encouragement and greeting to the ecclesial community of San Marino. Holy Father is being greeted by the bishop, receiving a gift. Which is the The Holy Father also offers a chalice to the cathedral, to the bishop, in recognition and memory of his visit. The gift the Holy Father received was a manuscript of a facsimile of the manuscript of the life of Saints Marinus and Leo. The Holy Father has arrived this morning here in San Marino for his brief half-day visit. These are the only 2 public events of his pastoral visit to San Marino. And this afternoon, the Holy Father will travel to the nearby city of Rimini, Italian city of Rimini, where he will meet with the participants in the Rimini meeting, which is an annual event that gathers people from around the world in hopes of promoting dialogue and mutual understanding. And the afternoon he will meet with the Rimini meeting, and as well as the several people assisted by the Caritas in Rimini. And then this evening he will celebrate Holy Mass in Rimini before returning to the Vatican this evening. Holy Father's greeting several ecclesial authorities who are members of the church community here in San Marino.
Padre Giovanni, il nostro eremita, della compagnia eremita.
Un caloroso saluto da parte del Comitato Apostolico Romano, con la quale collaboriamo tantissimo.
Padre Marinus della comunità segretaria. Lui è il decano dei diaconi permanente, Domenico.
And the men greeting the Holy Father right now are the various representatives of religious orders and various Catholic communities. I believe there was the Ukrainian community represented just a moment ago, the women's religious, a permanent deacon also greeted the Holy Father, and then various catechists and leaders of the church community. And the Holy Father receives a letter from one of the church leaders here. He's also greeting the local leader of the Scouts Association, an association that is very active in Italy and as well in San Marino. The Holy Father is now making his way out into the courtyard, the square in front of the Basilica of St. Marinus. We see images of the Basilica of St. Marinus, which is at the top of the very steep hill, this mountain here that composes most of San Marino. We see the motto is held by Saint Marinus, Libertas, meaning liberty, which is the motto of this microstate. San Marino is, as Pope Leo mentioned, is the world's oldest surviving republic. It's not a history of military power, but of a very small community repeatedly preserving its autonomy through geography, diplomacy, neutrality, and political flexibility. According to tradition, the Republic was founded in 301 by Marinus, a Christian stonemason from the Dalmatian island of Rab, now part of Croatia. He reportedly came to nearby Rimini and later withdrew to Mount Titano during the persecutions of Christians under the Emperor Diocletian. Marinus established a Christian community on the mountain. And as Pope Leo recalled, he left these words to the people of the community that he founded. I leave you free from both men. And the two men are traditionally understood as the Roman Emperor and the Pope, the temporal and ecclesial powers that might otherwise claim the territory. The phrase became the spiritual foundation of San Marino's identity, and, as I mentioned, is summarized in its national motto, Libertas, However, this story was recorded centuries later and obviously contains legendary elements. But the first firm written evidence of an organized community on Mount Titano is the Placito Feretrano of 885. However, archaeological evidence shows that the mountain was inhabited much earlier. San Marino originally governed itself through the Arengo, an assembly composed of the heads of local families, and then in 1243 the community elected the first two joint heads of state. These offices developed into the modern captains regent, who are still elected in pairs every 6 months. The arrangement prevents political power from being concentrated in one person, and resembles the two consuls of the ancient Roman Republic. The Arengo promulgated an early body of laws in 1295, and these eventually developed into the 6 books of the Statutes of San Marino, which were drafted during the late 16th century and formally promulgated in 1600. They remain part of the country's constitutional order, although they have been supplemented by subsequent legislation, particularly the 1974 Declaration of Citizens' Rights. During the Middle Ages, San Marino survived among much larger and frequently warring Italian powers. Recall that Italy was not a united peninsula until 150 years ago. In 1463, after joining the alliance between the Malatesta family of Rimini, San Marino acquired the territories of Fiorentino, Montegiardino, Serravalle, and Faretano, and this brought the Republic substantially to its present territorial dimensions. The country was briefly occupied by Cesare Borgia in 1503. Cesare Borgia was the son of Pope Alexander VI, and is the subject of The Prince, which was written by the great political theorist of the 1500s, Niccolò Machiavelli. So after its brief occupation by Cesare Borgia, the Republic of San Marino recovered its independence after he lost power. In 1631, the Papal States formally recognized San Marino's independence. This recognition was especially important because the Republic was otherwise surrounded by territories under papal authority. We see the Holy Father is making his way and greeting the members of the community as he makes his way out of the Basilica slowly. Continuing the history, the San Marino, in 1793, a Cardinal Giulio Alberoni attempted to annex San Marino into the Papal States. However, the occupation ended in February 1740, after the inhabitants appealed to Pope Clement XII. And the restoration of independence is commemorated on the feast of St. Agatha, who became the co-patron of the Republic. When Napoleon's forces took hold of the Italian peninsula in the 1790s, San Marino pursued friendship without surrendering its autonomy. Napoleon recognized the Republic in 1797 and reportedly offered to enlarge its territory. San Marino declined, a very prudent decision, since accepting could have made it appear expansionist and endanger its independence after Napoleon's fall. The Congress of Vienna reaffirmed San Marino's independence in 1815, even as it restored much of the old European political order after Napoleon's fall. San Marino became known as a place of refuge for people facing political persecution. In 1849, following the collapse of the Roman Republic, Giuseppe Garibaldi and approximately 1,500 followers took refuge on Mount Titano while escaping Austrian forces. San Marino negotiated safe passage while preserving its neutrality. Its assistance to supporters of Italian unification, including Giuseppe Garibaldi, the general who eventually united the Italian peninsula into one kingdom of Italy, earned it the goodwill of the emerging Italian state. The 1862 treaty with the Kingdom of Italy and San Marino recognized the territory's sovereignty and established a lasting framework for relations between the two countries. We note that Abraham Lincoln, the President of the United States, also accepted honorary San Marinese citizenship. In a letter to the Captain's Regent in 1861, he noted, "Although your dominions are small, your state is nevertheless one of the most honored in all of history." Pope Leo is still making his way through the Basilica of St. Marinus, arriving near the entrance. And during the 2 world wars, San Marino remained neutral. During that period, it gave refuge to around 100,000 displaced people. And now the Holy Father has made his way up to the steps of the Basilica of St. Marinus.
Auguri a tutti.
Good morning and blessings to you all. A little bit, you were able to listen to me, and during my speech, I could repeat the same things. Let me repeat the same words, beginning with the words, "Open your hearts. Listen always to Jesus Christ, and never be afraid to listen to what Jesus wants to tell each of you." If I could say one very important thing for you young people, recognize in yourselves the value of life, the value of your life, who you were already created by God, and your life has much value for yourself, for your family, for the whole church, for us. Believe in what God has created, because you are all sons and daughters of God, and we should live with this sense of gratitude in our heart, a value, and you will have everything you need in life. Be generous. Be always open to service and dialogue, and always try to form authentic friendships. In friendships we can form a community. Here in San Marino, you have a beautiful motto, just a single word, libertas. You've heard it many times, but true liberty we can find only in Jesus Christ. We can find it in truth, in Jesus, who came to give us life, who came to help us recognize the truth in a world that is often full of lies, full of tricks. But if you have Jesus Christ in your hearts, if you have the truth in your hearts, and liberty to follow Jesus, there is no need to be afraid of anything else, because Jesus, He calls you, He calls all of us to walk together. That's enough. Thank you very much. Thank you. And may we all be one community, always united. Thank you. And the Holy Father goes to the crowds, blesses a few babies, shakes a few hands, making his way here through the square in front of the Basilica of St. Marinus. We hear the bells celebrating his visit, the first of the Pope since 2011, when Pope Benedict XVI visited, and before that Pope St. John Paul II in 1982. And we invite all of you to join us this afternoon for the Holy Father's pastoral visit to the city of Rimini, where he will meet with the Rimini meeting, the Diocesan Caritas, and celebrate Mass. And with that we conclude the live broadcast of Pope Leo XIV's visit and meeting with the ecclesial community of the Republic of San Marino. Please visit our Vatican News web portal, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube accounts for coverage of today's event and other Vatican and world news. On behalf of Vatican Media, I'd like to thank our in-studio audio technician, Bruno Orti, and our audio coordinator, Thaddeus Jones, as well as all of our media partners on television and radio. And we thank all of you for joining us. My name is Devin Watkins. It's been a pleasure to provide the English language translation and commentary for this papal event. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.
anche lui la foto, santità. Ecco, foto anche qui, santità. Grazie. Grazie, benvenuto. Ciao Francesco. Un po' quando gira lì. Ho un bello mestiere.
Mangiamo già per il menù.
Buon lavoro. Grazie. Non vi invidio oggi. Spero di no. Buon lavoro.
Ciao, grazie.
No.
Grazie, Santità.
Ecco, ringraziamo questi ragazzi, vogliono farle questo piccolo dono. E Filippo, grazie. Grazie Santo Padre. Lo saluto. Guarda cosa mi dà, prendi. Grazie. Buon proseguimento.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Saluto alle autorità fino a destra e a destra fino a
Allora, salutiamo fuori.
Grazie per questa visita, grazie.
Piacere.
Grazie, Santità.
Grazie, Santità.
Santità,
Grazie a voi.
Santità, grazie di questo regalo meraviglioso che ci ha fatto. Grazie.
Santità, grazie, è davvero, è
Questa
stato
visita, sappiamo che la sua giornata è piena. Lasciamo
davvero una gioia immensa poterla accogliere e grazie per tutte le parole che... Sì, davvero. Quindi noi le auguriamo una buona continuazione di questa meravigliosa giornata e sono sicura che troverà immensa accoglienza anche appena vieni e arrivi. Davvero, grazie di cuore.
Poi buon lavoro.
Grazie davvero. L'accompagniamo allora. Sì?
Sì.
Grazie davvero.
Vediamo dopo.
Grazie di tutto.
Fianco sinistro, sinistro. Guardi avanti, al tempo. Spal, arm. Guardi avanti, marcia.
Grazie.